Welcome to this Sparsholt College Group tutorial program podcast, where we will be looking at climate change and sustainability. Let's start with climate change. This is a change in the average temperature and cycles of weather around the world over a long period of time. Climate change is not a new occurrence. Scientists have kept records of the global surface temperatures since 1880. The results show that the planet is steadily becoming warmer and the climate is changing. In 2020, which was one of the warmest years on record, the global average temperature was 1.2 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial baseline. So what is being done about this? In 1995, the first United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP1, was held in Berlin. The Conference of Parties, COP, is a decision-making body of the United Nations Climate Change Framework Convention, or UNFCCC. This organisation was formed in 1994 to stabilise the greenhouse gas emissions and to protect the planet from the threat of climate change. In 2015, the Paris Agreement was adopted by 197 parties at COP21 in Paris and entered into force in 2016. The Paris Agreement is a legally binding international treaty on climate change, and its goal is to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius by reducing the world's carbon emissions. It requires all countries to report on their plans and progress, and some countries who are more economically equipped to make changes are expected to lead the way in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So how does climate change affect us? Climate describes the average condition of the atmosphere over a long period of time for a given location. Examples of different climates are Arctic climates, tropical climates, and dry climates such as deserts. Climate change has negative effects on biodiversity. Biodiversity refers to the variety of living things that can be found on Earth, for example plants, animals, and microorganisms, as well as to the communities that they form and the habitats in which they live. Over millions of years, people, animals, and plants have become adapted to survive in the conditions in which they live. A stable climate supports this process and allows living things to thrive. If the climate changes quickly, they do not have enough time to adapt to the new conditions and they may no longer be able to survive. Climate change also affects sea levels. Rising temperatures are causing sea ice to melt and sea levels to increase. The rising water can cover coastal areas, destroying habitats and displacing whole populations from low-lying areas. In addition to this, when the bright white surface of sea ice is reduced, less sunlight is reflected off its surface back into space. This causes even more ocean warming and reduces sea ice even further. Climate change also disrupts weather patterns and causes extreme weather events, such as hurricanes, droughts, and floods, to become more common. As the global temperature has increased, so has the number of reported natural disasters. What is causing climate change? Scientists report that many of the changes to the Earth's climate are caused by human activity, and it will have many serious and potentially damaging effects in the decades ahead. The main cause is greenhouse gas emissions from cars, power plants, and other human-made sources and activities. Burning fossil fuels, such as coal, gas, and oil, produces toxic fumes such as carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur, and nitrogen dioxide. These fumes pollute the land, air, and seas, which leads to the production of greenhouse gases. Deforestation is the removal of a forest from land that is then converted to non-forest use, such as farmland or housing developments. Trees give us oxygen, store carbon, and stabilise the soil and give life to the world's wildlife. Deforestation, or removing trees, causes an increase of carbon dioxide emissions and soil erosion, as well as the destruction of forest habitat and the loss of biological diversity of both plants and animals. World population growth is also a big factor in climate change. At the end of 2022, we now have a global population of over 8 billion people on Earth. The population has been rapidly increasing. It now increases by 1 billion every 12 to 15 years. These billions of people use the planet's resources every day. More people means more houses, heating, food and fuel, which means more pollution, more greenhouse gases, more deforestation, and more waste to manage. Waste management has increased around the world in recent decades, and there are no signs of it slowing down. Every year we throw away 2.12 billion tonnes of waste, which contains heavy metals, chemicals, plastic, clothing, e-waste and more. What is our college doing to help? In June 2016, Sparsholt College incorporating Andover College won Green Business of the Year at the Winchester Business Excellence Awards. Sparsholt and Andover campuses have the largest portfolio of roof-mounted solar installations at any UK educational establishment. Additionally, all college electricity suppliers are green, all college mains gas supply comes from a green energy supplier, and LED intelligent lighting has been installed at the Andover campus. We've learned that climate change is a big deal. The next part of this episode is on sustainability and how we can make changes to help keep our world safe. If you are worried about anything in this podcast episode so far, please speak to a member of the wellbeing team for support.